For those in the virtual world, that is not me. For those are here, also still not me. Excellent. So I went to Starbucks this morning. I don't know if that's anti-New England, being Dunkin' Donuts world, but I did go to Starbucks and that's what I do. Anyway, so today from a presentation perspective, I also say I used to be a school teacher. So standing here for like 20 minutes, Ron, could be a problem. Anyway, so here to present 5 things to consider when choosing remote access and support solutions. Justin Windsor, I am the channel chief of the Americas. So what I do is I lead our channel program from a Splashtop perspective for all of the Americas. So locally here, one of our partners is Green Pages. And again, we're going to talk about some remote access and remote support solutions. All right, so let's start with a poll. Again, those virtual, I can't physically see you, so feel free to raise your hand if you like. So question 1, how many of you worked from home in 2019 more than 60% of the time? So got a lot of hands up, again, for the ones virtual. How many of you now work at least 50% from home? Okay. 3, how many of your companies have designed a secure, high-performing, long-term work from home strategy? Okay, it's got some hands coming up. How many of you actually prefer working from home? I know I do, I'll just put it that way. And then raise your hand if you believe a hybrid workforce is now a long-term solution. All right, so most of the hands again in the audience, ladies and gentlemen, have been raised. So let's take a look at this and kind of how we're changing this landscape of going to the office and what we would contend with, and as what Ron had said earlier, this is the way it is. We'll have a hybrid workforce going forward. So in 2019, about 20% of workers actually work from home. So that would be sales, maybe help desk, maybe C-level people. Enter 2020, number skyrockets to 71% now working from home. Now we have 2 stats, one here and one on my notes here. 54% of people in 2021 said, hey, I will continue to work from home. If I have to go back to the office, you know what, I'm not doing it, right? In 2022, we're starting to see it's now closer to 70% of our people from organizations say, hey, if I have to go back to the office for this job, guess what? I'm finding a new job. So we're seeing a lot of this great resignation now that people truly want to work from home going forward. So why remote access and remote support? And we'll kind of let the slide build out. And I'm not going to spend too much time on this. I think the numbers and stats kind of speak for themselves. But to echo what Christian said from Zerto, ransomware is not going away. The comic crew from China, people from Russia, they don't care if it's Jim's Dental, FedEx, they don't care. They're trying to get in. So I think when you look at how are you creating that same work-life balance, whether that's the person working at Starbucks or working from the Starbucks, working from home, working in the office, how is that a secure solution that security actually can trust? So now we'll get into it. I'm not David Letterman, nor do I have a big white beard. But let's take a look at what are 5 factors when you should actually consider a remote and access and support solution. All right, we just kind of mentioned this before, and this is just some more additional stats here from a security perspective. The other stat not here, that in 2021, organizations lost $21 billion in ransomware induced time. So again, ransomware security is not going away, as you see some stats here from SonicWall as well as SunGuard. So again, when you're looking for a remote access, remote support solution, definitely ensure that security is, of course, your top priority. Make sure that features these 4 buckets here relative to a secure infrastructure, intrusion protection, app security, and maybe some advanced features as we see multi-level passwords, blank screens, screen lock, these kinds of things. The second thing that we really are seeing out in the workforce today is users, whether that is someone working in a healthcare organization, whether that's a student, everyone has different devices. How many, another poll question, but not on the slide, raise your hand if you use at least 2 devices for work purposes. Some of us have iPhone, maybe PC Mac, maybe iPad, right? So now if you're looking at a solution, you have to make sure that is inclusive of any device and any operating system, right? Lindsay and I were down in Florida last week of January. We had this gentleman came up and he was the CIO basically of a small school district in Georgia. I said, well, how big is your school? He's like, I got 5 elementary schools, 2 middles, and a high school. I said, well, how do you handle those Chromebooks that the county gave you? He's like, what do you mean? I said, what happens if the student has an issue or drops it like my son? He goes, I don't know, I just buy him a new one. I go, I don't think that's the best strategy. He goes, I have no tool. I have a PC at home. Kid has a Chromebook. I have no tool to kind of bridge that gap. So again, you definitely have to take a look at what your devices are out there in the marketplace. from a student population. So again, we kind of talked about it, and I'll just let the slide build out. So again, you may have users, and this could be students that need to access lab computers. You may now have faculty that actually has to access devices still on-prem, still in the actual office. Or here's the other thing, IT staff, they're not going to the office, are they? No, guess what? IT staff, they're also working remote. So we're seeing a huge increase in this space around remote help desk. So now we have the power to, when you're looking at a solution, make sure that you're choosing a solution that gives you the power, I should say, that really allows your IT admins, your help desk to provide that support, whether that's a school, whether that's faculty, or again, computers from the actual students. The third thing I want to mention, again, how many of us see shadow IT? Now I'm just going to go do things IT doesn't need to know that, right? So the other thing that we really need to be cognizant of when you're looking at a long-term remote access and remote support solution, it is something that's easy. It's simple to set up. It's simple to manage. And let's not forget, it's also simple to scale, right? I may have so many users today, but I'm gonna have an influx of devices in my environment, more people working from home. I may have an increase as I make acquisitions from a business perspective. And I have to make sure that whatever I'm adding actually creates and works with my existing workflow. I hear so many presentations talk about latency and all these different things. So make sure whatever solution you're ensuring, right, has very good performance and reliability, right? I know as a user, if I'm at a Starbucks and I'm having trouble hitting that VPN, I'm going to get frustrated, right? We don't need that. You also don't need doctors, for instance, who are now doing patient visits from home. Hi, Mr. I think you have, do I have cancer? Like, what did he say? Like, that's not a selling thing. So make sure you have really, really good performance and also really good reliability, because again, if you're the organization's end user or help desk guy, you got to make sure that you feel like, you know what, my quality and my responsiveness is just as much as I'm physically sitting there in the office or in the hospital or at the bank, even though, again, I may be working from home. And then all of those things are really good, but if you don't have a world-class customer support organization kind of behind you, then I would respectfully say, then what does it matter, right? So the solution that you're providing or looking to from a provider perspective, do they meet these 4 metrics, right? Do they listen to your needs? Are they proactive? Do they offer live customer support at all times of the day? And do they have the ability to say, you know what, we've got a lot of good customer references, a lot of good customer testimonials, and we have a very strong NPS score, NPS. So again, those are the 5 things I would look for. As we all kind of agree, this work from home thing's not going away, that you have to truly manifest itself to this. And I was speaking to a gentleman earlier, I would contend respectfully outside of Splashtop, and of course we have competitors in our space, but I really, really think when you look at IT over the next couple of years, any IT administrator, whether you're at Goldman Sachs or Jim's Dental or any parts in between, you're really gonna have 3 things that you look at from an IT strategy perspective every single year. 1, what are we doing around ransomware? How are we mitigating our risk to that? 2, what is our cloud backup DR strategy, right? And then 3, what are we doing around remote workforce? How are we enabling work from home solutions? And if that really manifests itself to that, which I think it will, then these are some 5 factors I think when you get the deck from Ron later, definitely to take a look at. So before I get into who Splashtop is, how many people know who Splashtop are? Yes. That's the answer we get a lot of times. So don't feel like, oh, I should know who Splashtop is. No. But if you did, that'd also been awesome. So a year ago, I could not have told you who Splashtop was. If you said they made surfboards, I would have said yes. No idea, right? So I joined Splashtop again in September, leading our channel program from the ground up. And there was 3 stats, and you can see all the stats here about Splashtop that really, really drew me to say, wow, this is an amazing company. So we are headquartered in Cupertino, California, right outside Apple, basically in their shadows. We also have an office overseas in Amsterdam. We're very big, and you'll learn here very, very shortly why we're really big in Taiwan and APEC at large. But there's 3 stats that really, really just, wow, what a company. So as you can see here, our NPS score, and I mentioned that is something when you're evaluating your provider for remote access, remote support solutions, we have the highest in the industry, 93%. When we go to events, Lindsay and I and others, people rave about Splashtop. I have never been around a technology, people go, oh, I just love Splashtop. People seemingly love our technology. And again, they're willing to speak about how great that is. The second stat that I was like, wow, holy cow, that's insane. 85% of Fortune 500 companies have Splashtop. You'll see some of the logos that here very, very shortly. And the other side, I was like, whoa, holy cow, is that we've already received a unicorn status as of 2021 for a $1 billion evaluation. So we are a very solid software-based company Our technology is cloud-based. We do sit in Amazon. And the interesting about the founders of our company, so we've been in business since 2011. So 4 guys from Taiwan do not know each other. They all go to MIT, and that's where Splashtop was born. So not far from here is where Splashtop actually started over a decade ago. And they looked at the technology and they looked at the industry in 2011 and said, hey, we think over time, more and more people will have the ability to work from home and like the ability to work from home. So our business was going very well from 2011 to March of 2020. And then March of 2020, let's just say business got a lot better, right? So as you can see now, we have over 30,000 MSPs supporting us globally, 800 different million sessions, and over 30 million users on a global scale. So who uses Splashtop, and what are some use cases for us? So again, just here locally, Harvard is a customer, MIT is a customer, Boston College is a customer. We have large enterprises like AT&T, GE, and UPS. The interesting thing about Disney, and this was kind of my revelation a few months ago, is I kind of took a step back and I said, okay, if one of the things you need for in a remote workforce solution is to be completely agnostic of device. Splashtop, we can go from an Apple to an Android to an iPhone to a PC and Mac. So it does not matter where you are or what device you are. We create that secure connection, that stream, if you will, from any device, right? Also, any operating system. So you think about this. Think of all these point of sale machines, whether you're a convenience store, whether you're a bank with an ATM, or in the case of Disney World, at the end, in the back end, what is it? It's an Android-based operating system. Whether it's a Honeywell, Samsung device is absolutely irrelevant to Splashtop. So every single point of sale machine at Disney World, where I'll be next week with my son, runs Splashtop. So we have CVS, we have IKEA, we have Best Buy, right? So you think about going to the airport, you think about going to a bank, ATMs. At the back end, it's a device. It's agnostic to Splashtop. We can remotely access and remotely support that. We also do integrate and bundle with some solutions such as Datto, Ninja, and Atera. We do work with such other providers in the service management space, such as ServiceNow, Zebra, Honeywell in the IoT space. So again, think about Splashtop, yes. Do we do remote access? Do we do remote support? For sure. But truly just take a step back and look at the bigger picture around the whole Internet of Things. If it has an operating system, and it has a device, Splashtop can create that IT user experience from anywhere, again, with security that IT can trust. Again, just kind of a synopsis, which really should be a parallel to a slide we showed a little bit earlier. So again, from Splashtop, it does not matter where you are, does not matter where your user is, and again, it does not matter the device you are trying to connect or bridge to. The other area that we're starting to see some uptick. So raise your hand in this room if you have kids. I have one going, he's 11 going on 17. It's true. Like Leah, be 11. It's actually pretty awesome. Like you have a place to sleep. You don't have to worry about paying, it's actually pretty good. Be 11. But the other area that we're having a lot of uptake, and I'll go back to Disney. So a lot of these animated films that are coming out from Disney, from Marvel, from Lucasfilms, guess what happened during COVID? All those actors and actresses couldn't go to Hollywood to do the voiceovers. They were stuck in their house. How did they use that? How did they do that? The answer is Splashtop. So all these animated films you're seeing coming out right now, again, in movie theaters, those voiceovers were actually done by Splashtop because of our performance. We can do 4K frames per second, 4K streaming, I should say, 60 frames per second. So we have very, very good performance. The other thing, and this goes back to the other slide, 20% of people work from home in 2019, right? In the case of Twitter, it's 100%, right? We're just gonna work from home. Is the modern day VPN, and I'm not going to bash VPN, is the modern day VPN truly made to handle the world of today? I would respectively say no. What we would say is that, hey, keep your VPN, but maybe those high performance applications, high performance use cases, or users who can't afford to be frustrated, we can be a nice VPN supplement to an organization strategy. And the last slide I have really here is just really a synopsis of what the Splashtop Enterprise portfolio. What are some of our benefits? Again, whether that's from a remote access perspective. One example I always like to share is this. Let's just say you're a student and you used to go to a lab, and on that lab was a Mac. And on that Mac, you had CAD software, Adobe, whatever. But guess what? Now you're working from home. Now you have a PC. Now you have a Chromebook. We create that secure tunnel, if you will, where that student, or again, you could say the same thing for construction or any other vertical, right? They may now have an equity gap, because they don't have that high performance Mac at home. What do they have at home? They have a PC, they have a Chromebook. They can click the Splashtop streamer, our agent, see a list of devices, and it's physically, even though they're sitting at home or in their dorm room or whatever, they can access that device, but also anything that's on that device. So even though they're on a Chromebook without Adobe software, they can click that Mac and leverage that. So again, we create a very good solution around remote access. We talked about it earlier. Help desk, you know, these IT guys and girls, they're also not working from home. You conceptually could be on a beach in Mexico on an iPhone. Someone says, you know what, I have a problem with my Mac. Okay, hold on. And they can actually log in and fix that. And again, we really can configure a plan to really match your needs. So again, how we price can vary per customer. We're actually working, again, this blew my mind as well. Working with a very large organization on California, and they developed an app, a marketplace, if you will, for all the tablets and all the trucks that you see out driving. Now they're leveraging Splashtop. So I never would have thought Splashtop, remote access, remote support, actually had a play in the transportation industry, but we do. So anything that has, again, a device, you think about Teslas, you think about all these different use cases, Splashtop really has a fit for. And again, we have a good team here to kind of match your needs. So Ron, that's all I have.